drive home. So this will be a 10-mile drive, starting out on the city, probably 5-10 miles of highway driving, followed by city driving. And it looks like we're gonna have to start out here with the tricky U-turn. Let's see how it does. Okay, it's gonna go fast and get over in this U-turn lane. Beautiful. And it needs to coast through here. Go, go, go. Come on, go. Alright, it's hesitating. I'm like really tempted to hit the gas, but alright, we got a truck here, construction, telling us to get in the left lane, and it is getting in the left lane to go around, but it's got to make an immediate right here, right as this construction crew is also moving up. See how it does with that. Did that pretty well. Nice. Yeah, full self-drive 12.5.4 is it's gotten a lot better, but as I said, I've had to run 2 red lights that were very obviously red. One of them was kind of in rainy nighttime conditions, and the other one was daytime. Traffic was clear as day, like about this time of day. At a pretty major intersection, but both cases I could see all the traffic around, and it was clear. So I decided to play a game of chicken, expecting the car to slam on the brakes at the last minute, and it never did. It drove right through, like the light wasn't even there. So I did the bug report and reported both of those. Has not happened since, but definitely be cautious of it. I've got one of the videos posted online, and the other one I have on SD card somewhere that I need to download and upload to YouTube. I'm just gonna bump the speed up a little bit to max 85. So far, 0 interventions, and I have not had to touch the wheel one time. That's a nice thing about the supervised FSD software. But it is very attentive with the dash cam looking in your eyes to make sure you're actually paying attention. Changing lanes to follow route. You've got a difficult merge because there's an emergency vehicle that's got someone pulled over and lots of traffic. So stay over. And it jumps over. Completely went over the line there. But corrected itself. I could have grabbed the wheel at any point in time. So this turn it has gotten confused on in the past. Let's see how she does here. And it's good that it's staying in this lane because you need to make a immediate right-hand turn onto DeQuinder. Did that one very naturally. Okay, we got a green arrow, so it should go. And she does. Good possum.
So after he put out that statement, which the New York Times published, he received literally hundreds of threats via phone, email, and even snail mail. How old school? Anyway, one said the owner of McGregor Metal can take a bullet to the skull and that would be 100% justified. Very moral, very Christian people. Why are you importing third world savages who eat animals and giving them jobs over United States citizens? There's so many bits of misinformation in that one sentence. Again, the jobs weren't being filled. They desperately needed people to fill them. They're not eating your animals. And they are legal migrants. And they're not savages. They're feel that they need to strike. And so I want to talk about both sides of this. First, politically, Harris, on the topic of Taft-Hartley Act, if he did that, some people, I guess economically, would be happy about that. Obviously, because his demise feels literal, our country will be no exception. And she says, I'll never forget the night my dad told me he was considering becoming Trump's lawyer. She says, I ugly cried for a few minutes, then spent the next 3 hours making my vehement case to my father that he not go down this morally perilous path, voicing concerns about Trump's open racism, rampant misogyny, and total lack of empathy. And I'm sure there's a lot more that you could add in there. And let's pause for a second. Like, it's got to be rough. I mean, because at the point that Rudy Giuliani starts this newfound relationship with Donald Trump, we already knew who Donald Trump was, not just like over the last 20 years. He'd already been the terrible new political guy that he was. And to see your father decide that's who I want to hitch my wagon to, just on a personal level, like, imagine that. And look, if you think that I'm going to be able to get through this story without thinking about how I would feel if I did something politically that caused my daughter someday to feel like she needs to write an op-ed for Vanity Fair, no, I'm not going to be capable of doing that. And I just hope that I live my life in a way that nothing like this ever needs to be written. But even if you just look at Giuliani, look at what his life was like before he hitched himself, couldn't have gone on this nationwide spree of losing his family. He owes $300,000. Bear in mind, it doesn't, much lower level MAGA people giving us this view into this difficult situation a family has had to deal with thanks to Donald Trump. Okay, with that said, let's move on to our final story of the hour. Producer Mike. Yes, we're going to get to all of them. And let's talk about this. There is indeed no amount of loyalty as a member of the MAGA movement that will save you if they decide that you need to be theoretically, maybe even literally wiped out. So we're going to turn to a business owner, formerly MAGA business owner in Springfield, Ohio. So what do you think this story is about? Yes, indeed, it's about migrants. It's about Haitian migrants specifically. And so this former MAGA business owner is facing a torrent, a tsunami of death threats for having said something super mild that, again, is unacceptable for the MAGA movement. And we're going to get to the threats. But first, we just want to let you know about what Jamie McGregor actually said. So Jamie McGregor's family has lived in Springfield for 5 generations. And what did Jamie do? Publicly praised his Haitian workers, saying, quote, they come to work every day. They don't cause drama. They're on time. I wish I had 30 more. That's what he said. And that goes out. And right-wingers who now have been convinced by a bunch of liars, knowingly lying to them about Haitian migrants, they've been convinced that these migrants are undocumented or illegal. They're not. They were asked to be there. That they are abducting people's pets. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. And so Jamie McGregor is a traitor to them. A political traitor, and also, let's keep it real from the point of view of a lot of these MAGA people, a race traitor. Because how dare you take these migrants who are eating our chow-chows and imply that it's a good thing that they're here, when they've stolen jobs from good white Americans, even though they haven't, the jobs were unfilled, they desperately needed these workers. How could you do it? And so he just said what he thought was honest. His workforce is 330 strong, about 10% are Haitian migrants, and they're good people and hard workers. And so after he put out that statement, which the New York Times published, he received literally hundreds of threats via phone, email, and even snail mail. How old school? Anyway, one said the owner of McGregor Metal can take a bullet to the skull, and that would be 100% justified. Very moral, very Christian people.
Stay classy.
Why are you importing third world savages who eat animals and giving them jobs over United States citizens? There's so many bits of misinformation in that one sentence. Again, the jobs weren't being filled. They desperately needed people to fill them. They're not eating your animals.
All right, so pulling in here to the house. I'm going to let it do its thing. And all right, you going to go? All right, it's pausing here for this car, so I'm going to give it a little bit of gas accelerator to prompt it to go. So it tells me autopilot navigation complete, puts the turn signal on, starts to pull into the driveway, and actually pulls into the driveway and then stops. Oh, so close. it is.
Disagree about the
I think she's confused by
if you disagree with
the car
you need to
with the car cover on. Let's get into the driveway a little
that
bit.
needs to happen. This was a MAGA guy. He voted for Trump. But now he sided with the Haitians, so I guess he needs to die. Anyway, he was visited by the FBI. Apparently some of the threats had from the point of view of the FBI possibility to them, so that is horrifying. He had to talk to his family about what protective measures they can
That
take
was
so they're not
confusing it.
MAGA. And he also said, by the way, and I think this is pretty reasonable, now he's not going to vote for Trump again, saying, I can't imagine living my whole life like this. You know, it's got to end. It's got to stop. Hopefully after the election. And I certainly hope so, although I don't have a lot of hope. And he says, by the way, while he had previously never owned a gun, now him and his 14-year-old daughter are practicing on gun ranges. Again, this isn't the left that did this to him. It's MAGA eating their own. Cautionary tale, if you're still part of it.
So, navigation complete.
First hour of the show.
Although, if you watch, it's still turning the wheel. What are you doing, car? I'm going to accelerate just to see if it's going to straighten up and actually pull into the garage without running into shit. Probably not. Let's not risk this. Alright, so that was pretty good drive. Couple mild interventions. Accelerator taps to gently encourage the car to go. But other than that, successful trip. Good job, Possum.